Good morning, everyone. Today is Wednesday. Um, Today we are learning the ninth Perek of Kesubas. Today's shiur is Lila Nishmas Aaron Nachman Simcha Cohen Yishon Mordechai B'Shepsel Baruch Service Malid Amina Moshe Ben Yosef. May the Shalom all have an aliyah. And before Shlema for Yisrael Ben Rachel Leah Rachel Bas Pesel Zoda Avner Yisrael Ben Risha Chai Bas Devabela before Shlema Besok Shar Chal Yisrael. And shout out to our good friends at the Imperial Advisory Group for sponsoring Seder Nashim. If you need CFO help with your company, then please reach out to them at imperialgrp.com. Okay, here we go. Perek test. Um, Yesterday we spoke about the wife's property rights and how they belong to the husband. In some case, in many situations where he has the right to eat from the produce of the land, and he could prevent the sale of the land for her. So now we're going to talk about a husband who gives up all or some of his rights to his wife's properties. Perek test Mr. Aleph Hakosiv Ishto Din Dvarim Ein Li Benechsayich. If a man writes to his wife, I have no legal claim or argument with respect to your nichsim or properties. Hareze ochel peros b'chayeha. He may still eat the produce from her properties when she is alive. And if she dies before him, he inherits them from her. Despite his statement, he did not mean to give up either of those rights. If so, why did he write to her? I have no legal claim or argument with respect to Yumalov properties. He meant that if she sold or gave the properties away, then the transaction stands and he cannot take them back. That's what he was trying to say, but not that he was actually giving up the rights to the actual produce. So now if he says that I have no legal claim or argument with respect to your malug properties or their produce, so he's clearly including the produce in the statement. He may not eat the produce from her properties when she is alive, since he explicitly gave up that right by adding or their produce. It wasn't just the property he was talking about, but he included the actual produce too. But he may say Yarsha, but if she dies before him, he inherits them from her because he did not give up that right. So Rabbi Yehuda argues with the Tanakama and says, even if you wrote to her that he gives up the right to the produce, the olam ocha peri perus. He can always eat the produce of the produce, meaning that if she sells the produce and uses the money to buy land, he has the right to the produce of the new land, um, and he's even entitled to the produce of that produce. It goes on for all the future generations or the different levels beyond the first level. Until he writes to her, I have no legal claim or argument with respect to your beloved properties, their produce, or the produce of their produce forever. By adding the word forever, he restricts his right. He forfeits his right to any produce, no matter how many steps removed it is from now. Okay. Next statement. Cost of Ladin Dwarim Eli ben Echsaich Perisim Perisim B'Chayecha U'Mosayich B'Chayayich U'Mosayich. If he wrote to her, I have no legal claim or argument with respect to your malug properties, their produce, or the produce of their produce when you are alive or when you're dead. Eno Ochel Peres B'Chayah. He may not eat the produce while she is alive. A Mesa and a Yarshin. If she dies before him, he does not inherit the property from her since he explicitly gave up even that right. Yeah. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel says he disagrees. If she dies, he inherits her, even though he wrote that he's giving up that right. Because in doing so, he made a stipulation that goes against something written in the Torah, since it's the Torah law that a husband inherits his wife. And if anyone makes a stipulation that goes against something that's written in the Torah, his stipulation is null and void. It has no standing. Okay, cool. Mishnah Beis. Misha Mays, Isha one died and left behind a wife who claims her kesuba payment, a lender who claims the money that he has owned, and heirs who claim all the property as their inheritance. So there's three people trying to claim this money after the husband dies: the wife, the lender, and the yorshim. When he died, he had a deposit or a loan in someone else's hands. I mean, that someone was guarding that object for him as a shomer chinam or a shomer sacher. So who takes that object? Who takes that money? Do the heirs take it? Does a wife take it? Or does the creditors take it? Rabbi Tarfon says, Yinasnu the kosher shebehen. It should be given to the weaker one of them, meaning we give it either to the widow or to the lender, whichever one is weaker. But we certainly do not give it to the heirs. Since the heirs have not yet received the object or the money, we do not apply the general rule that metaltalin items cannot be collected from heirs. Kiva says, we do not show mercy in deciding the halacha. Although it's difficult for the widow or the lender to collect what is owed to them, there's no reason to let them take the object or the money. Ella Yanasnu, the Yorshin, instead they should be given to the heirs, who are considered the owners as soon as the husband died, even before they actually received the object or the money. Shakula and Srikan Shua and Hayorshin Srikan Shua. Because the widow and the lender, they must swear they have not been paid before they can collect anything. But the heirs do not need to swear in order to receive their inheritance. There's no halacha that says that a Yorish has to make a shubah before he inherits his father. That doesn't it's automatically theirs. Mishnah Gimel. Hiniach peiros telushim anakarka. If the husband died and left produce that was already detached from the ground, which is considered metaltalin, as opposed to land, which is not metaltalin, and whoever comes first and seizes the produce, he's the one who keeps it. So if the widow or the lender take it first, then they can keep it. But if the Yorshim take it first, it belongs to them, and it cannot be taken away from them as payment. Zachsa ha'isha yoser miksubasa ba'alchov yoser alchogo. If the wife came first and took more produce than she is owed for her kesuba, or the lender came first and took more produce than he is owed for his debt, then they cannot keep more than their share. That they can only keep exactly what they're owed to. Mosar, and the extra produce is dealt with as follows. Tarfon says, "Yinasnu the kosher shebehen." It should be given to the weaker one of them. But since both the widow and the lender are weaker than the yorshim, and the extra should not go to the yorshim. Rather, if the widow took the extra produce, it should be given to the lender. If the lender took the extra produce, it should be given to the widow. Rabbi Akiva disagrees. He says, "Emarach bedin." We do not show mercy while deciding the law. Ela Yanas, the yorshim, rather, it should be given to the heirs, to the yorshim, who are considered the owners of the produce, even though they have not yet received it. Shekula and Srikan Shvuah and the yorshim, Srikan Shvuah, he upholds his statement from Mishnah Beis, that everyone else, meaning the widow and the lender, need to make a shvuah before they collect their produce, but the yorshim have no need to collect because that's not in the rules of yorshim. Mishnah, so therefore the money has to go to them. Mishnah Dalid, Moshiv es Ishto Chenvan. So one sets up his wife as a storekeeper to buy merchandise on his behalf and sell it in a store. Oh, Shemina Aputrofa. Or if he appointed her as administrator of his property, Hareze Mashpia Kozman Shiyirsa. He can make her swear whenever he wants that she has not taken anything that belongs to him. Once he makes her swear with respect to his business affairs, he can also make her swear by handling of ordinary household affairs. However, a wife who is not appointed as her husband's business manager never has to swear about household matters. Rabbi Lezer says, "Afilo al pilka valisasa." Even a regular wife who is not appointed as the husband's business manager can be made to swear about her spindle, mean rod or stick used to form and twist thread, and about her dough, mean that any husband can make his wife swear that she did not steal ordinary household items, such as the thread she was spinning or the dough that she was kneading. Mishnah Hey, could you imagine making your wife swear for everything that she does in the house? I swear that I didn't use flour for personal use, so that I didn't, whatever. It's just, I don't think these are very interesting scenarios to think about in modern day situations. You know, food for thought. Mishnah Hey, Kasavla Neder Shvua Ainli Alayich. If a husband wrote to his wife, I will have no claim of a vow or an oath against you. And Yachal Hashpia, the Hashpia, he cannot make her swear. Aval Mashpia, who as your shed, but if he divorces her and she dies without having collected her kesuba, he can make her yours to swear before they collect it. But and he can also make those who take her place swear. Mean someone bought the rights to collect her kesuba, he must swear before he does so. Since the husband wrote, I have no claim against you, he agreed only that his wife will not have to swear, but anyone else who collects her kesuba must still swear. Neder ushua ainli alayich al yershayich b'ayim b'rishusich. If he wrote, I will have no claim of a vow or oath against you, your heirs, or those who take your place. Eno yachal hashpia lo he v'lo yorshev v'lo es habayim b'rishusa. He cannot make her or anyone else swear, not her, not her heirs, and not those who take your place, since he specified all of them. But if he dies and she comes to collect the kesuba from his estate, his heirs can make her heirs, or those who take her place, swear before they collect. Since the husband wrote, I will have no claim against you, he gave only his right to demand an oath and not the rights of the heirs. Below the Yarsha, if he wrote, I, my heirs, and those who take my place, will have no claim of a vow or oath against against you, your heirs, or those who take your place. And he cannot make her swear. That is neither me nor his heirs nor those who take his place can demand a vow or oath from her. Her heirs or those who take her place. Okay, Mishnah Vav. If she went directly from her husband's grave to her father's house and had nothing to do with her husband's property after he was buried, or if she went back to her father-in-law's house, but she was not made an administrator of his property after he was buried. And the husband's heirs cannot make her swear that she did not take anything between the time he died and the time he was buried, even though she was in charge of the estate during that interval. Aputropha, but if she was made an administrator of his property after he was buried, Hayorishin Mashpian Osa al Asulav. And the heirs can indeed make her swear about the future. They can make her swear that she did not take anything after the burial. Um, but they cannot make her swear about the past. They cannot make her. They cannot make her swear that she did not take anything when her husband was alive, because you know our Mishnah's case is where the husband had said that neither he nor his heirs would make her swear. That's what the Mishnah is talking about. Mishnah Zayin. Hapogemes kesuba solo sifra ela b'shua. If a woman reduces her kesuba, and she says that part of it has already been paid off, she is not paid the rest until she makes an oath that she was not yet paid in full. If one witness testifies against her and says that her kesuba was already paid, she is not paid unless she makes an oath that it is still owed to her. The next day, if she comes to collect her kesuba from the property of her husband's orphans that they inherited from him, or from stolen property that the husband stole, but she can take for a kesuba, or if she comes to collect her kesuba not in her husband's presence, lo sifra el b'shua, she is not paid unless she makes an oath that it is still owed to her. Okay, Mishnah Ches. We got two more to go, Ches and Tes, and then we're done for today. I think it's Tes. Yeah, okay. Mishnah Ches, Hapogemes, Kesubas, said, what is the case of a woman who reduces her kesuba? How does that work? How is a kesuba elef zuz? If a kesuba was 1,000 zuz, he's kabalt the kesuba sich. But when she came to collect it from her husband, he said to her, you already received your entire kesuba. He omaris lo his kabalt elamana. And she said, I received only 100 zuz. Lo sifra ela b'shua. She is not paid the other 900 zuz unless she makes an oath that she is still owed that amount. Since she might not have been careful to know exactly how much her husband paid her the first time, she is chayav to take a shvua, to swear. What is the case of one witness who testifies against her and says that her kesuba was already paid? If her kesuba was 1,000 zuz, and when she came to collect it from her husband, he said to her, you already received your entire kesuba. She said, I did not receive anything. But one witness testifies against her and says that it was paid. She is not paid a kesuba unless she makes an oath that she had not already received it. Although the rule is that one witness does not suffice to prevent the woman from collecting her kesuba, her husband will be troubled if he must pay her when one witness supports his claim that she was already paid. She is therefore required to swear so that he will at least be satisfied that she believes she is telling the truth. What is the case of collecting stolen property? If her husband sold his property to others, and she is collecting her kesuba from the buyers, she is not paid a kesuba unless she makes an oath that she had not already received it. Had she collected the kesuba from the husband himself, he might have claimed that he already paid her and insisted that she must swear first. Since the buyers are not in a position to know whether she was paid, the court makes the claim on their behalf. She must therefore swear before she can collect from them. The next say is some case. What is the case of collecting from the property of her husband's orphans? If her husband had died and left his property to his orphans, and she's collecting her kesuba from the orphans, she is not paid a kesuba unless she makes an oath that she had not already received it. Since the heirs too are not in a position to know whether she was already paid, the court demands on their behalf that she must swear before she can collect. What is the case of collecting her kesuba not in her husband's presence. Halach lo Medina. If he divorced her and then went overseas, vehi nefrash lo b'fanav, she wants to be paid her kesuba from his property while she is not present. And nefrash lo b'shua. She is not paid a kesuba unless she makes an oath that she has not already received it. Here too, if the husband were present, he might have claimed that she was already paid. Therefore, in his absence, the court makes this claim on his behalf and requires her to swear. And Rabbi Shimon says, "Calls Mashi Tovas Kesubasa Yorshin must be enough." Whenever she claims her husband after her death, whenever she claims her kesuba after her husband's death, the heirs of her husband can make her swear that she was not already paid, even if her husband has told her that they cannot make her swear. However, if the case is one in which she is not claiming kesuba from the heirs, rather the issue is that they suspect her of stealing his property, the heirs cannot make her swear. According to Rishimin, a woman can never be made to swear that she did not steal from her husband's property. Doesn't work. And the last Mishnah for today, Mishnah Test, Hotziya Geh ve'ein ima kesuba, ve'ein ima kesuba. If a woman came to court to claim kesuba and she produced a get, which shows that she was divorced, but there's no kesuba document with it, Gova kesuba says she can collect her kesuba even if her husband says that he already paid her. Although she has no proof that he still owes her, the Chachamim decreed that she is entitled to her kesuba as though she was holding the document in her hands. Kesuba ve'ein ima get. She produced a kesuba document, even though it was not customary in that place to write one, but there is no get with it. The absence of her get indicated that she was paid. He omeris avagiti, but she says my get was lost. Who omer avas shuvri. And as for the husband, if he already paid her, he should have a receipt, but he says my receipt was lost. A similar case in where the lender produced a loan document to collect his money from the borrower, but is now after Shemitah when debts are canceled. The ain't email principal, he has no principal with him. Then the lender says that he wrote a principal and lost it. These two claimants cannot be paid since the one does not have her get. We suspect that she already used it to collect her kesuba, and since the lender does not have a principal, we suspect they never wrote one. Rabbi Shimon Ben Gamliel says, "Min hasakana ve'ilach." Ever since the times of danger, when idolaters made decrees asking the Jews from doing mitzvahs, and people were afraid to keep mitzvah-related documents, Isha go kesubasa shelo beget. A woman can collect her kesuba even without producing a get. The Baal Chov gove shelo b'pruzbol, and a lender can collect his loan even without producing a pruzbol. At that time, it became the practice to burn a get immediately after receiving it, and to burn a pruzbol immediately after writing it. Therefore, the fact that a woman or lender fails to produce the required document in court does not give us reason to suspect that either one is lying. And finally, Shnei Gitin, Shnei Kesubos. If a woman produces two Gitin and two different Kesubos, which show that she married the same man twice, and he wrote her a new Kesuba each time he married her. Gova Shnei Kesubos, she collects two Kesubos from him. Shnei Kesubos to get Echa, but if she produces two Kesubos and one get, it shows that he married her once and wrote her two Kesubos during the same marriage. Oh, kesuba with shnei gittin, or she produces the kesuba and two gittin, which show that he married her twice. He wrote a kesuba only when he married her the first time. Oh, kesuba veget chamisa, or she produces a kesuba, a get, and proof of her husband's death, which shows, as in the previous case, that he married her twice. He wrote a kesuba only when he married her the first time. Eina gova el kesuba achas. In all of these three cases, she can collect only one kesuba. In the first of the three cases where the husband wrote two kesubas for one marriage, he can collect only one of them because he never intended that she should collect both. And in the last two cases where she only has one kesuba for two marriages, she can collect only one payment, even though she was married twice. Shamegarish es ishta v'chzira almanas kesuba harishona magziba. There's one who divorces his wife and remarries without writing her new kesuba, presumably remarries her on the condition that her first kesuba is effective for the second marriage as well. And lastly, katan she'esiu aviv. The boy is married up by his father, and he wrote a kesuba for his wife. Kesubas and is enforced. He becomes at 13, remarries her. Shall manas king kayam, because it was on this condition that he kept her, that meaning that he remarries her with the understanding that the original kesuba still applies. Gershon is guy of ishto imam. Similarly, if a convert to Judaism converted together with his wife and had written her kesuba before they converted, kesubasa kayames. I mean, that was not a Jewish kesuba because they weren't Jewish. Um, to take a prenup, basically. Kesubasa kayames. The kesuba stays in force even after they convert and he remarries her. Shalmanas king kayama. This was on this condition that he kept her, that means that he remarries her, the understanding that the original kesuba still applies. Thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you tomorrow for Perek Yud. Kol Tov.